The title of today's story is Heaven's Fist. Once upon a time, a long time ago, there was a father who was a great martial artist. He studied the style of martial arts known as the Heaven's Fist, and he was a great teacher. He had a big school and taught many people. He had a young son who was very eager to learn. He wanted to learn the Heaven's Fist, and he trained every day. And soon the son became a very good practitioner of the Heaven's Fist. Every day the father would say to the son, "One day, son, this school will be yours, and you will continue the legacy of the Heaven's Fist into the future." And the son was like, "Yes, father, I will do it. I will train every day to continue the legacy of the Heaven's Fist." Well, every once in a while, as was customary of those times, another martial artist would come from another school to challenge the leader of the Heaven's Fist to see whose martial arts was stronger. Well, one day, a martial artist came and challenged the leader of the Heaven's Fist. They had a friendly sparring session, and the Heaven's Fist won. Oh, the little boy was so proud. He was so happy. And their life was comfortable for a while. However, the father, the leader of the Heaven's Fist, had a bad habit. He really liked to drink. So in the end of the night, after a whole days of training, he would go to the place to get alcohol and sit and drink. While he was drinking, he would tell his son, "Go wander around." And so his son wandered around. As he was wandering, the little boy heard a sound. He heard the sound of two boys bullying a little girl. He saw that the little girl was carrying a box of lollipops, selling lollipops. And they were trying to get her lollipops for free. She was trying to get away from them, but they wouldn't let her. And she started to cry. And then the little boy came in and said, "Hey, don't bully her. Bullies are bad." And they said, leave her alone. Leave us alone. You don't have anything to do with this. Don't get involved in our issues." And the little boy says, "My father taught me that I must defend the weak." Well, the two boys attacked him. But of course, he knew the Heaven's Fist, and so he beat them easily. And the two bullies ran away crying. Well, the little girl was so happy that she got protected. She says, "I'll never forget you. Thank you for saving me. Please, as a reward, take a lollipop." At first he said, "No, it's okay, but it's a lollipop. Who doesn't want a lollipop?" So, took the lollipop. Well, life continued as usual for a while. Until one day, another martial artist came with the Dragon's Fist and to challenge the Heaven's Fist. This time, the Dragon's Fist won. And after he won, he said, "Anyone who wants to join my school can come join my school." Well, they lost a lot of students that day. But not only that, the leader of the Heaven's Fist went to the doctor and said, "Doctor, I don't understand. Lately, my hands have been shaking, and randomly I start sweating and I feel sick and have a fever a lot. What's wrong with me, doctor?" And he says, "This is the results of you drinking too much alcohol. You have alcohol poisoning." He says, "But then how can I fix it? How can I fix it?" He said, "You can't fix it. You drank so much that you ruined your body. And now, even with training martial arts, your body's broken." Well, unfortunately, not too long after that, because of the Dragon's Fist, because of his shaky hands and his drinking problem, eventually he lost all his students and they had to close the school. Well, the son, still growing, he wasn't grown yet, said, "But father, what about our future?" And the father says, "You know what, son? I wasted my life on alcohol and I ruined our future. But I hope that maybe you one day will revive the Heaven's Fist and make it famous again." And the son says, "I'll do it, father." 10 years later, the father was already dead and the son was a grown teenager. And he wanted to open a school, but he needed money first. So he started doing small jobs here and there, gathering money. One day he started working at a restaurant, washing dishes. As he was washing dishes, he noticed a loud sound in the restaurant. So he came out to see. 4 gangsters had come to the restaurant and was bullying the restaurant owner. And they started hitting all the tables, breaking all the chairs, and the owner with the old man was like, "Please stop, don't do this. This is my restaurant, don't do this." And they wouldn't stop. And then they pushed the old man too. So the young man with the heaven's fist came out and kicked their butts. And the gangsters all ran away screaming, "We'll get you back later, we'll get you back later." But they started running away. The old man was so appreciative that he says, "Young man, you have such skill. Where did you learn it from?" "Oh, my father used to be the teacher of the heaven's fist, and it's my dream to open a school one day." "Well, then why don't you go open a school?" He said, "I don't have any money. I barely have enough money to survive." He said, "Well, you can go borrow some money. I'll show you where to go borrow money." So he took the young martial artist to borrow money, and he got enough money to open a school. And so he opened his school and called it the Heaven's Fist. Opened the doors and said, "Whoever wants to learn can come learn." And there was a total of 0 people. Nobody wanted to learn. Nobody cared about the Heaven's Fist. Nobody cared about martial arts. He would walk around everywhere saying, "Who wants to learn martial arts? Who wants to learn martial arts?" And found nobody. He even went to ask the old restaurant owner, "Do you want to learn martial arts?" He said, "No, I'm too old." Asked another guy, "You want to learn martial arts?" "Oh, I have to work all day. I don't have time for this." And so he started having debt now because he borrowed money. Now he has debt. He's stressing out. The first month went by, 0 students, no money. So he had to leave the studio and start working again. One day he saw this woman walking by and went up to her and says, "Do you want to join my school?" And she's like, "What kind of school?" "Oh, a martial arts school, the Heaven's Fist." She's like, "Well, not a lot of people train martial arts nowadays." He goes, "But it's my dream." She's like, "I know it's your dream, but it's not very popular. Have you done anything else? Have you tried to adapt it at all?" He says, "I can't adapt it. This is what I promised my father. I have to do it this way." She says, "Well, if you don't adapt to the changing times, the world has changed in 10, 15 years. If you don't adjust and adapt to the world, you're going to get left behind." He says, "But what about my heart? I love this. I want this. I'll fight for it. I try so hard." She said, "Just effort and loving it is not enough. You also have to use your wisdom to adjust to the situation." So he says, "What does that mean? Do I have to close my school?" She said, "I don't know. Maybe I have to close my school." So he resigned his heart. Lucky for him, he had a good friend. And so to make his friend feel better, he says, "You know what? I promised you one day that if I ever opened a school, I would take you to go watch a musical or like a little play, right? So let's go." So they went to go watch the play at the playhouse. As they sat down, they saw something interesting. A young, beautiful woman walked by with a box of lollipops. She was selling lollipops at the theater. And she says, "Who wants to buy a lollipop?" And the young master says, "I'll take 2, one for me and my friend." And when he looked at her, he was like, "Hey, aren't you the girl from 10 years ago that I saved?" And she said the same thing. "Aren't you the young martial artist that saved me?" She said, "Yes, I remember you. I remember you too. How's your school? Do you have a big famous school now?" He's like, "No, I don't have a school. I have to close it because I have no students." She says, "Oh, that's too bad. Well, this is my parents' playhouse, my theater. Enjoy the show." And right there, the leader came out and said, "Let the show begin." And so the actors started acting and doing the play. But guess what? Behind the scenes, something was happening. 4 gangsters were trying to shake down the place, were trying to rob the place. And they were like, "Hey, give us your stuff, move out, we don't want you here anymore." And when the owner said, no, we don't want to move out," the gangsters started breaking everything, pushing everybody down, hitting everybody. Finally, the little girl with the lollipops went up on stage, "Please stop, don't do this, don't do this." And then they pushed her to the ground really hard. Well, the young man got up and 1 against 10 people. He fought them all and he beat them. Afterwards, everybody was so proud of him and happy for him. But guess what? The people in the audience, they didn't understand what happened. They thought this was all part of the show. And they said, "This is the first time we've ever seen martial arts in a show." That was so cool. It was so exciting. It was just like real. And so after that, the owner of the theater came to talk to the young man and says, "Young man, you are very skilled. Would you be willing to become an actor?" He's like, "What do you mean an actor?" He said, "I'm a martial artist." "But can you be a martial artist and an actor?" We will pay you a lot of money. A lot of people want to see what you did that day. All those punches and kicks and flips, we want to see that. And so they hired him. And he started making a lot of money being a martial artist actor. Then other theaters wanted to hire him too, so he started getting famous. Now that he got famous, people wanted to learn his martial arts. And so he was able to go back and open a school now that he was a martial artist actor. And finally, he realized his dream that came true. What is the moral of this story? There's a lot of things that we can learn from this story. And I hope that when you go back home and think about it, you'll think about it. But one thing that I think was very interesting was a lot of us have dreams about what we want to do. A lot of us are willing to fight and put in the effort to do what it has to do to get what we want. But one thing that we also have to have is a good brain with wisdom to learn how to adapt to different situations. The world is not going to give you what you want. Just because you want it, you don't get it. Just because you try your hardest, you might not get it. You also have to apply your wisdom. You have to learn how to adjust and adapt to everything that life gives you. And that will give you the highest chance for success. เข้าใจไหมครับ สาธุ